The Jet doubles up on the hard clay. Krummel picks up the win in the Sportsman. Things got quick in the CRSA. You mean the end of the season's only a couple weeks away? Could have fooled me. Let's get to it. Race Pro Weekly. Welcome to another edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren, and we'll get into things right away as we head down to Orange County, to the Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York, for the annual Eastern States 200. The Eastern States 200 at the Orange County Fair Speedway would get going for the dirt car big block modifieds, as the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn would be your pole sitter in the event by setting quick time on Friday night. Cars on the move early included the 19 of Chuck McKee along with the 91 of Billy Decker. Car getting up out of shape on the top side early in the event, that is the 21M of Bob McGannon, all up at turn number 2. Attrition would be a factor in this one in the early going. You see Tim Fuller coming down pit row with a right rear flat. Billy Van Imogen on the move as a little bit of a scuffle up in turn number 2 would take place, as it would be Peter Britton, Matt Billings, Matt Shepard, and Rich Scalata involved. Off of the restart, Brett Hearn would continue to pace the field as cars would make their way up into turn number 1 and 2. The sensational one, Jimmy Horton, going underneath Donnie Carella's for position, as Andy Bacchetti would have trouble as his night would end going off the hook. This would set up the first pit stops of the afternoon. Brett Hearn, Tyler Dipple, Tim Hindley coming down pit road, as they would look to see who would be the first one off, and it would be the Jet winning the race out, as off the restart taking over would be the 97 of Jerry Higbee for position. With the big gun still kind of trying to come up through the field as young gun meets the old guard right here, as Tyler Dipple tries to go around the outside of Brett Hearn for position, as meanwhile Higbee holding everybody at bay for the time being, as he would have a little bit of a run up there towards the front of the field as well. But as we continue to move through the event, things would cycle back out after a caution where Keith Flack would have a right rear flat in the Golden Wreckers and rear car number 43, and also a pit stop over the 4 of T-Mac. That would set up Brett Hearn back in the race lead as he would take over once again towards the closing stages of this event. Matt Shepard would charge from the early race incident to go around the 1 of Tyler Dipple on the back straightaway as they would continue to go through turn number 1 and 2. However, caution will come out as Mike Kolka gets together with the 19 of Chuck McKee, Danny Creedon, and Matt Billings involved. Off of that restart, cars trying to make their final push up through the field as Tyler Dipple would have a right rear flat on the number 1 machine. Then Tim McCready would have a right rear flat on the number 4 car. Danny Johnson would have tire trouble as well on the 27J. Matt Shepard trying to get back up through the field as he would crack the top 5 here once again, running with Billy Decker, but this was all behind the mats and overhead doors. Car number 20 of Brett Hearn as he would score another win in the Eastern States 200. Brett Hearn gets his 3rd straight Eastern States 200 title. Matt Shepard would finish in 2nd, Tim Hindley 3rd, Kenny Tremont 4th, and rounding out your top 5 was the 98H of Jimmy Phelps. The CRSA Sprint Cars also on hand at Eastern States weekend as they would get started with Jeremy Quick taking the early race lead in the event. Brett Jaycox trying to lead him down the back straightaway. Scott Goodrich in there as well, along with Emily Van Imogen trying to make their way up through the field in the early going of this 20-lap feature event. Car would slow down the backstretch. That would be the number 1 of Jeff Van Steenberg, as that would bring out the caution and re-rack the field. Off of the restart, Quick would refire as they would look to continue this feature event, as Jordan Thomas making moves on the outside, trying to make a pass down the back straightaway on the 91 of Alessi as time was running out, and then Jaycox and Goodrich would make contact, and Jaycox go for 1. No, he goes for 2. Then he goes for 3. I can count. That's actually quite of a miracle. But anyway, the caution will come out for the 07 machine, and then off the restart, Quick would refire once again. Number of cars shuffling back to the middle part of the field as Goodrich still trying to make it down the backstretch and keep the position. Chuck Alessi trying to run down Jeremy Quick in the late going, but it would be Quick who would bring home his first win of the season on the CRSA Tour. Jeremy Quick Picking up the victory, Scott Flammer would finish in second, John Matrafella would finish in third, Chuck Alessi fourth, and Jordan Thomas would round out the top 5.
There's only one place in the Capital Region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there.
Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products, race to win. The Choices 301 program takes a multifaceted approach aimed at educating the public about the realities and dangers of what can happen when bad decisions are made inside a motor vehicle. Don't hesitate to designate. The small block modified 100-lapper on Saturday night would get things started as Brett Hearn and Matt Shepard would lead the field to the green. Danny Johnson and Danny Creedon trying to make their way up through the field in the early going of this event. As car goes around on the front straightaway, that is the 99L of Larry White, as that would bring out the first caution of the event. Tyler Dipple and Tim McCready would put on a battle down the back straightaway as they would look to go into turn number 3 and 4. That would continue down the front straightaway, Dipple holding on for the time being. As they come back around, however, Dipple would get out of shape for a second and have to evade action as he move on to pit road without sustaining much damage. Meanwhile, the battle for third place is Danny Johnson would go around the outside of Danny Creedon looking to take the spot away. He'd get it. Kenny Tremont on the move along with the 33 of Chuck McKee as well as they come down the back straightaway. Car going upside down in turn number 2, and that looks rough and tumbled. A lot of damage on that machine, especially with that right rear tire, to say the least. As things would get going again, Tim McCready trying to make his way up through the field as Brett Hearn continues to lead this feature event. Stuart Friesen, Tim Fuller, and Jerry Higbee all on the move as well. As car would get caught against the outside wall, bringing out the caution once again. That is the TEN of Billy Van Imogen. As now things would bunch up as Brett Hearn will get caught behind Brett Haas for the time being, and this allows Danny Johnson to capitalize on the number 2 spot as he gets by Ray Hall Jr., who was in lap traffic and now runs right on the back bumper of the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn. He'd move to the inside of him as Hearn gets hung up by C.G. Maury, and as they come around to the white flag, the caution will come out, bunching him up once again as Tyler Dipple would slow down the front straightaway. Off of the restart, Jerry Higbee with the move of the race, moving to the inside, trying to get Danny Johnson, which allows the Jersey Jet to get away, going up into turn number 1 and 2 as cars scramble by Andy McKetting on the backstretch. But you guessed it, no one was stopping the Jet as he picks up his 14th win in the Small Block Championship at Orange County. Brett Hearn pulls out the broom at Eastern States on the weekend. Danny Johnson would finish in second, Jerry Higbee third, Super Matt Shepard fourth, and Jeff Hetzler fifth. Sportsman Championship at Orange County would see Brian Krummel, your early race leader in this event, as he would lead the field to the green up into turn number 1 and 2. Cars on the move early included the 14 of John Virgilio and the 20 of Matt Papa as they would try to make their way up through the field. You see Papa trying to go to work on the 7 of Michael Sabia. Car would get into the outside wall in the early event. That would be Jimmy Johnson. No, not that Jimmy Johnson. In the 77 machine as that would end his night early. Off of the restart, Krummel would now have LJ Lombardo breathing down his neck down the front straightaway as they headed up into turn number 1 and 2 as cars would continue to go on the move here in the midway point of this feature event. 3-wide battle for the number 4 spot as Matt Janiak going to try to make a move to the outside as Matt Hitchcock also there as well looking to take the position as now Brian Krummel would go underneath the number TEN of Winter Mead as they would have contact right in front of him. That allows Krummel to go by and would bring out the caution as well. Off of the restart now, you see Lombardo trying to run down the 9 of Jesse Laby as Matt Papa continues to look to crack the top 5. And now Papa going around Lombardo for the number 3 spot as he would take it with ease. And it looks like the protege of Brett Hearn knows what he's doing here at Eastern States weekend. Now it would be Papa trying to run down Laby through turn number 3 and 4 for the spot as Laby makes contact with a lap car in Winter Mead. LJ Lombardo gets out of shape, hits the outside wall, and Matt Papa would be the benefactor going into the number 2 spot. Off of the restart, Papa had a little bit of time to try to run down the number 44 of Brian Krummel, but Krummel still ahead of him in lap traffic as he has Ricky Davis right in front of him. As they go up at turn number 3 and 4 for the final time, Brian Krummel picks up the win in the Sportsman Championship. Krummel picking up another big win at Orange County. Matt Papa would finish in second, Matt Hitchcock third, Matt Janiak fourth, and LJ Lombardo would round out the top 5. Straight Stock Championship at the Orange County Fair Speedway would see John Heckinger and Bob Palmer at the front of the field in the early going of this event. Cars on the move as you see Jim Mahar in the M1 machine trying to make his way up through the field in the early going as Heckinger would hold on to the race lead. But now here comes Gary O'Brien to the inside looking to take the lead away with Bob Palmer on the outside and Ray Tarantino right behind him. Heckinger would hold on to this as Palmer would shuffle and lose a few positions down the back straightaway as he would stay in the top 5 for the time being. Cars trying to make their way up through the field. You'll Cook there as well as now Heckinger gets into the back of Tarantino, which has Tarantino lose a few positions as he was the race leader. He dropped back to the 5th spot, and we have a wreck on the backstretch. That was the 21 of Joel Mearns, as tough wreck for him for the rooftop shuffler, as that would end his afternoon. Off of the restart, Tarantino on the inside of Heckinger looking for position. Bob Palmer trying to thread and needle his way back up towards the field. As now Tarantino going to try to dive under Heckinger again, coming off at turn number 4 as Heckinger gets out of shape off the corner, loses a couple of spots, and that would also lead to him getting to the outside wall up in turn number 2, as that would bring out the caution once again. Now Kyle Welsh would be on the back bumper on the restart of Tarantino as they headed down the back straightaway here in the closing stages of this event. Welsh would take a shot on the low side off at turn number 4, but it wouldn't be enough as Ray Tarantino would grab the win in the Street Stock Championship. Ray Tarantino picking up the victory. Kyle Welsh would finish in second, Emerson Cargan Sr. third, Jim Mahar fourth, and Ray Hall Sr. would round out the top 5. It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week, and if I really got to go into detail on who this week it's going to be, you guys are crazy. The Jersey Jet Brett Hearn picks up another one by sweeping Eastern States. Hearn is now eligible for the NISCA Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online, www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So for myself, Matt Knowles, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, Dave Del Sandro, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.